You are now listening to Timebite, hosted by me, Stephen Clark. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Hey there, everybody. It's your boy, Steve. Once again, for episode 107 of Timebite. Oh, man. Today, I have someone on who I've known for a few years, and I knew his band for a few years because he's amazing, and the band's amazing, too. You may know him as the Flux Capacitors straight out of SoCal, California. Same thing, you know what I'm talking about. Today, I'm with Ryan Silverburg from the Flux Capacitors. What is going on, man?
What's not going on, man? Too much. Still decompressing from this last weekend.
Decompressing and all that, yeah. Let's jump right into that, by the way. Like, virtual pop convention, or what was it called? Virtual Pop Con?
Expo.
Yeah,
Virtual Pop Expo.
Yeah, the Pop Expo. Like, now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know, like, what's the difference between, like, a real con, like, you know, cosplayers, you know, con, regular con, and, like, a virtual con like this? Like, what separates the two, and what's a virtual convention?
Virtual convention is something that we created, that creative people innovated once the quarantine happened, because there's no conventions anymore. There's no Comic-Cons, at least for now, and probably for a while. I don't know how it is out in Illinois, but out here, San Diego Comic-Con is closed. Los Angeles Comic-Con is not happening. None of the conventions out here are happening. So creative folks got together and took everything that you would experience at an actual Comic-Con and translated it down to something that can be conveyed through the internet. It doesn't mean it's in VR or anything, although I would love to go that direction. But we're not quite there yet. But we were able to take cosplay and AMAs, interviews, panels, music, all kinds of stuff that you would ordinarily have at an actual comic convention, and pipe it through the computer. And we did it all this past weekend, and it was a tremendous success. So that's the difference. The difference is it's not at an actual convention center, but we took everything that you would get at an actual convention center and pushed it through the computer.
Because when I looked at it, when I was watching the footage that was up on Facebook today from the after uploads, it kind of just reminded me of just a bunch of interviews, like, you know, at Timely Sessions. Is that what it was?
Well, I mean, isn't that a lot of what a regular Comic-Con is? Like, a lot of panels, a lot of people being interviewed, people being able to ask questions, talk to their favorite celebrities, do their shopping at all the vendors. We did have 120 plus vendors on our virtual booth floor, and we brought in some really great talent to speak with people. So yeah, it is essentially 8 hours per day or more of solid content coming down the pipe, but yeah, which is a lot of panels and a lot of Ask Me Anythings and interviews and things like that. But that is essentially what you get at a Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. And we also had a cosplay contest. It's the best approximation that I think anyone has been able to do. We did have some other virtual con creators watching what we were doing. They put on their own before we did, and we all kind of had the idea at the same time, but some of them were quicker to the draw than we were. Mm-hmm. But they were watching us, and then unanimously people think that what we did was the closest thing that people can get to an actual Comic-Con while we're all under lockdown.
So when it came to like the virtual boot, what do you say, virtual booth floor, virtual con floor?
We had a virtual marketplace, yeah,
Yeah,
which
what?
had 120 or more than 120 vendors that would have been vending at San Diego Comic-Con in July.
So I want to ask you about that in the cosplay contest. For the booth floor at least, was it just like all like the was it links or something to like their websites where you could buy their stuff and then people could
No,
just go there or no?
no, we have a partnership with an app called Oxit. It's actually still working right now. They're going to be keeping the marketplace up for the next week. And so through that partnership, basically we had vendors create a store inside of the app. They could put a link to their website and stuff. Some did, and some put it to their Etsy's and whatever. But for the most part, vendors were selling straight through the app. So everyone had their own little shop set up inside of this app. And if anyone wanted to, to go check it out, you download the app, you log in, and you find Virtual Pop Expo, and then you'll see 120 or more. I can't remember the exact number.
Yeah.
Vendors showing up, and you click on each vendor's logo, and it takes you into their little store within the app, and then you find the items you're looking for. We had a lot of exclusives. We had a lot of stuff that you won't find anywhere else, that of one of a kinds and stuff like that. And you check out from there. So it was like that. It was the best we could do, and it worked. So yeah.
And then for the cosplay contest, was that just people in their homes having their webcams up to like a certain position? Or
we've had people sending in their cosplay videos for about 3 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of submissions, and however they chose to shoot it, if they shot it out in their backyard or in their bathroom, we didn't care, as long as they were wearing, they're putting their best work in front of our faces. And we had Wacom, which is, they do the drawing tablets for computers. They sponsored that, and so there were prizes that were we gave out 2 Wacom Intuoses and one Wacom 1 tablet to the grand prize winner. So it was pretty cool. And I mean, everyone's costumes were great, but there were definitely 3 that stood above everything else.
That's really cool. I mean, I never like this concept. Now that you told me about it, and now I know about it a little bit more, I appreciate it a little bit better now, because beforehand I didn't know exactly what it was exactly. But but like,
did you watch it? Did you tune in at all?
Well, to be honest with you, I watched the replay of everything, but what I watched, I liked. And
cool.
And it was only 2 days, right?
Yeah, we only did it on Saturday and Sunday. This was the first time we'd ever done it, and we were, like 8 weeks ago, before COVID-19, like this would have seemed like a ludicrous concept. There's nothing anyone would have ever done or thought would be possible, is to take Comic-Con and turn it virtual and make it, an event on the computer. It's not something anyone wants to do. It's something we were forced to do, and we were forced to innovate it. So since it's, it hasn't really been done very much, all of us who are doing this kind of stuff are making it up as we go. So I'm glad to hear that, that you thought it was cool. A lot of people really did think it was cool. And some people said it was like the best con they've been to. They even came away feeling the way they did when they've been at a Comic-Con for a week with all their friends, and then go home and are like, oh, now the emotions set in and they're all sad. Well, the same feelings are happening now with people who attended the virtual con. Now they're feeling a little like it was fun while it happened, while it lasted, and then it's suddenly over. Same way it is with every con, and it's kind of a bummer when that happens.
So
yeah.
Do you think there's any? First question before I'm trying to say. Let me ask my first question, and it leads into my second question. First question: do you think the next time you do it, I can somehow be a guest there and talk about my podcast, or do a panel for my podcast at your virtual con?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of programming. pass the the request in to some of my producers and stuff, and see if and see what the story is. It's possible, or at least it's possible to maybe we would have a section where where podcasters can have their information up. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in charge of branding, so all the design work and everything. That's the video editing, all that crap. That's what I do. So the only thing I can say is that I can pass it on to my people and see if the idea is there. Like, we haven't even entertained this kind of thing yet. Mm-hmm. Anybody in, but like artists and creators and celebrities and stuff like that. So maybe there is a room for podcasters and bloggers and stuff like that, but we haven't gotten there yet. But I'll let you know when we do, and we'll see what can happen.
Yeah. Have your people call my people. Oh, wait a minute. I'm my people.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
But no. My second question is, since this can be done at any time, and you can basically, well, you don't run it. You basically have your people and all these other people doing it. But since it can be done at any time because it's virtual and you don't have to restrict yourself down to a date, or canceling and not canceling, is there going to be a virtual Pop Expo 2 this year?
I would say highly likely, but we haven't even discussed that yet. It's not something we're going to probably talk about for a couple of days, because the last 6 weeks have been so busy. None of us have slept. So we knew that once this was over, we were going to take a couple of days off. And so that's what we're doing right now. So when we reconvene, we'll discuss the future of it, what's coming next. So I would say it's very likely, but I can't give a definite answer yet. But everyone will know when we put the word out.
Because I
wish I could tell you stuff, man, but honestly, I don't know yet what's happening because we haven't talked about it yet.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, it'd be really cool to have like a spring edition or spring/summer edition and a fall edition. That'd be really cool. But I don't know if that'd be too much stress or anything, but that would be really cool to see.
It would be really cool to see. I would like to see it happen, and I'm sure that the team would like to see it happen too. So we'll make it happen. I'm sure. Yeah. But who knows? We don't know. You'd think someone who is in a Back to the Future band would know the future, but no, I don't know the future, dude.
Oh, you can say that you don't know, but okay.
Right, like, yeah, exactly.
But no.
So what else, man? What's up? What else do you want to know?
So for the band, at least, I mean, we was talking about the band a little bit. I remember when I first saw you guys, I was like, Back to the Future band, what? I thought it was so exciting. But I also met another band just like you guys, but they're Voltron related and they're from Indiana.
What are they called?
The Shakeups.
All right, that's cool.
Do you know them?
No, I don't know, but I'll reach out to them.
No, but they're I know, because I had the Shakeups on my podcast way back in the beginning of Cyber Timebite. I'm talking about like way back in the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, hey, I know the Flux Capacitors are pretty cool, and they said, yeah, I know them, they're pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, they're a person who knows them.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, we started the band 7.5 years ago, and I don't know where the time went, first of all. But, we come across people who know us all the time, and that used to it still blows my mind, but it used to blow my mind a lot more than it does now. Now I've sort of just gone like, well, maybe everyone has seen Back in Time. Maybe they've all heard of, I don't know, like we have that feature on CNN, that's never going away. Who knows? Like, maybe people have seen it there. Maybe they just hear it, from their friends who've been out to California and seen us. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the word gets around. Mm-hmm. We've also done some really insane stuff too, like we've done some crazy events, and that word gets around as well. So, hey, if you talk to those guys, tell them hi from Flux.
Yeah, I can. so how do you take fame? How does fame um like how do I say do you see fame as like, oh, it's this thing, I'm still like everyone, like I support my fan base, everyone I support, and the whole band supports and all that stuff, because it's never gone to your head at any point in your life because you're like fame, right?
No, no. That's a tough question, man. From an insider's point of view, like I discussed this with mostly my guitarist a lot. Like it's easy for us to not see how people might perceive the band or the stuff that we do. It's easy for us to like not be able to really experience that. So we're just five dudes having a good time and kicking back and playing music and whatnot, and everyone else, the whole fame aspect, that's up to the fans and the people, people who might know us and stuff like that. That's their perception. Ours is just, we're just five guys who like to play music and have a good time and like to do some really cool stuff. But we don't really feel the fame aspect of it. Yeah, we've signed autographs, lots of autographs, and met a lot of people and this and that, but that just kind of goes with the territory for us. It's not like something that goes to our head or anything. It's fun, but it never really changed us. We're still the same guys we always were. We just do a lot of cooler things, and we like to share that stuff with as many people as we can. We're not like the kind of band who just keeps everything to ourselves and has this quiet little private life. No, we like to, I don't know, like mingle, with our fans and
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fame thing is not a weird thing to deal with or anything. And I don't know, we're still just five guys who like to kick back and party and hang out and play music and meet with people. And yeah, so I don't know how else to describe it. It's a really weird thing because it wasn't even something that we were anticipating when we started this. Like,
So
we didn't think for a second, like, we're going to get, pseudo almost famous over this. Like we never thought that would happen. And we don't really care. Like it has happened, but we don't really care. Because we're still, like I keep saying this, we're still like the same people that we always were.
You're like the kind of people that's like, how do I say it? So like if you guys are, let's take this for example. So like let's just say you guys are like playing like quarantine's over and people are able to mingle together in groups again. And you guys wanted to do like a barbecue in the parking lot of the venue, and you guys just happen to be there, and you guys are just chilling with the fans. Is that your style? Like you're just chilling with the fans, eating barbecue at a barbecue with your fans?
We do that, man. Like that is our style. Like kick it with the people. Like we'll finish playing a show and go hang out with people, walk around the crowd, meet people, hang out, have some drinks. We don't just like disappear backstage and then you never see us again. Like we could, sometimes there's really nice green rooms that you want to hang out in, but that's not our style. Like we still want to go meet people and we want to say hi and get photos and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll be right there at the barbecue.
No, because that's what I want to do in my podcast. If that ever happens to me, if I ever have like a fan base growing and people, get behind it, like it'd be so cool just to have like, the barbecue and people want to be like, hey, you want to come join? So you want to come and join? Like, yeah, I mean, why not?
Dude, like we have some friends that really close friends that we've met through the band, and like a big group of those people, and me and the guys like look at them like we're just buddies and we're equal with them. But every once in a while, because we've been doing a lot of Zoom chats with people just to keep in touch, and every once in a while, like the conversation goes to the band, and everyone's like talking about the first time they hung out with Flux, or first Flux show they've been to, and this and that. And this happened the other day. I started thinking, man, like no matter how much these people think I'm like they're just my buddy, or no matter how much I think these people are my buddies, they're still looking at me and my band members as these like rock star guys. Like it doesn't matter that we know them personally and have hung out and stuff like that. And the conversation can still very easily turn into like something all about Flux, which kind of puts us on the spot sometimes. And with close friends, I like to kind of have some separation between the band and what we do and our private life. But that's not going to happen because people are interested in what we're doing, and still, I don't know, there's still a little, they still fanboy and fangirl sometimes, even though we're like really great friends. So it's a weird dynamic. If you ever get to that point, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's weird. It is weird.
Are you talking about?
But I don't blame them though. Like they're into what we do, and that's just part of their lives. So I don't blame them for being into it. But it is nice to separate from it, in our personal lives. So
are you talking about like if we weren't like, let's say for example, if we weren't doing this interview right now and I was just talking to you like face to face in person or like this, and I go like, oh my god, like and the only thing I started talking about is like, oh my god, but Flux though, Flux this, Flux that, like you would want that separate from like, oh, but how about like this beef jerky I had today?
Yeah, I would rather talk about the beef jerky. Like, go ahead and talk. If you have questions, if you're interested in what we're doing, what we're up to, and all that stuff, talk about it, but let's not talk about it for too long. Like I still like to detach, because when we do the stuff we do, it's insane. It's like chaos when we're out doing our stuff. So we do like to, after we detach from all that stuff, we do like to come home and have like a normal, quiet home life. So, not too much talking about the band. I mean, not like in an interview or whatever, but like, person to person, it can get to be a little too much. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes we can talk forever, but a lot of times it's like, let's just leave the band out of this for right now. Let's just be buds,
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I never had to. I personally never had to do that yet because I don't have people like going like, but Cyber, tell me about that episode though. I never had that happen to me, but
well, it who knows, man. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort, and you've been sticking with it, so keep going at it, and who knows what can happen. Really, like who knows? Yeah.
So I want to ask you about like your childhood and how you were raised. Because you told me before we started recording you were born and raised in Hollywood, California, right?
Yeah.
How is being born and raised in basically where the stars live, where fame and fortune and everything is born out of this country lives? How is growing up in all that like?
When you're doing it, like, when you're in it, it's not something you really even see, because if you're so exposed to it, it's just kind of normal. Like a lot of my friends were like prominent child actors. Like I grew up with Candace Cameron and Jonathan Brandis and like Lindsay Sloan. Lots of child actors who that was just normal. Like Danny Cooksey. Like these people were all in my class and in my life. And I did some stuff for Universal, like, we don't need to talk about that, but I did some shows and things in the '80s, some sitcom stuff, and that was just pretty normal. My friends were all doing commercials. My my aunt and uncle are prominent entertainment lawyers. It's just something when you're around it, it kind of just gets blurry, just blends in like with the background. But now as an adult, I really do see how cool that is. I guess like Universal Studios Hollywood is like 20 minutes that way, and the Hollywood sign is like 15 minutes like over there. So like it's kind of it's something as you get older you might appreciate it more, and I definitely do appreciate it more. And there are a lot of stars around here. You see them every day. I know personally a whole bunch of celebrities, but it's normal. It's not
awkward.
It's not awkward at all. I hope that was able to answer it. Like it was easy growing up around it, but as a child, you don't really know the difference. Like I just sort of started here, so I didn't have a frame of reference outside of like growing up around the entertainment industry. And so it just kind of makes sense that I like got back into it in my adult life. I'm enjoying it more than ever,
So you did stuff back in the '80s, like you did work back in the '80s and like shows and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. My one of my cousins was a casting agent for Universal, and I'm gonna not get into that stuff, but yeah. So I was around it. I was always at Universal or Warner Brothers or whatever, and
no, because the reason I was asking, because I wonder if I ever watched anything that you were in and you were in it and I didn't realize.
Probably not. Well, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll save that discussion for another day.
Yeah.
You may have, but I would have been maybe 12 years old or 10 years old or something. So he wouldn't even have. It wasn't even me at the time. It was me 30 years ago, 33 years ago, or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. Can't do math. I can play music, but I can't do any math. So. Yeah, save that for a future interview, and we'll talk more about that stuff.
Yeah, sure thing. But the one you gotta answer though, were you an extra in Back to the Future?
No, I was not an extra in Back to the Future. I wish I'd been an extra in Back to the Future. However, back in the day when I was doing stuff at Universal and filming and this and that, we did like some of the cast members and I would go out to the Courthouse Square set, which is the Hill Valley set, and just sort of run around and stuff because our sound stages were not too far away from that set. And what's super crazy is that all this years later, I've been able to go back to the set and walk around, and it's been a trip. Because I have been all over the set, man. I've been everywhere. I've been inside the clock tower. I've been in all the buildings and seen what's behind the facades and all that. It's super fascinating. It's really trippy. It's like a weird sort of ghost town. But no, I was not an original cast member of Back to the Future. No, I got into that thing way later in life.
Because how's the inside of the clock tower like? Isn't it just like on the inside, like when it's not in filming or anything, when you just go, like if you went in there like today and you open it, isn't it just hollow and wood and whatever, and it looks nice on the outside?
Yeah, well, it's not that it's hollow. It's the original pillars that were in front of it are inside the main facade. So that's super weird because you walk in through the door, and then there's huge ass pillars that are stretching up to the ceiling. but you see that the walls are this thin and all plywood, and then there's scaffolding and steps that lead all the way up to the top of the tower. There's no, I don't recall there being necessarily like a back wall, but I know that you could cross all the way through. You could go from the door at the top of the steps all the way through and end up going out through the back, and you'll just end up in like a parking lot. But even being in the clock tower, that's cool. But going in all the periphery buildings, that's super cool, because those are not, those have walls all the way around, and you can literally walk from inside, from building to building, and you'll find like weird steps that go up to the roof, and you can peek over and see all of Hill Valley like down below. We have video of this. I got videos somewhere up on, we did like a tour of it, maybe up on the Flux page or on my personal page or something like that. But yeah, you can dig around and maybe you'll spot it. There's pictures of me back there in the clock tower. We were there doing a commercial with Bob Gale, and who's the executive producer of the trilogy of Back to the Future trilogy, and a few other cast members, Don Fullylove and Claudia Wells, and there was a DeLorean there and all that stuff. So that was fun. That was definitely fun. If you ever have a chance to go to a functional movie studio, go check it out. Not everyone gets to walk around in the back lot, but if you do, it's really weird. It's super weird and super cool at the same time.
Man, how much I would pay. I don't know. I would pay to freaking walk around that set, man. If I don't know how much it would cost me, but that would be awesome just to walk around that.
Well, when we get off, I'll find some video for you. I've got about a 6 or 7, maybe 8-minute video tour that we did. I'll send it over to you.
So have you met Marvin Berry?
I have met Marvin Berry. Yeah, and we've performed together with him before. Yeah.
Is he a cool dude?
His name is Harry Waters Jr. and yeah, he's cool. We did the 30th anniversary of that was 5 years ago. We did the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future on the same stage it was filmed. The Enchantment Dance, the Enchantment Under the Sea dance was filmed on. It's a church in Hollywood that no one really has access to, but we did. So we were able to film an actual Enchantment Under the Sea dance on that stage with Harry Waters Jr. singing Earth Angel with us. We had the same guy who played the saxophone in the films. We had Leah Thompson up there, and we had Jeffrey Weissman up there, and he's super cool, and he actually really can sing. It's really his voice singing that song. Yeah.
How about Michael J. Fox wasn't there?
No, he wasn't there. No. We've crossed paths with Chris Lloyd, and other cast members, but Michael J. Fox we haven't actually had a chance to run into yet. But that's just a matter of time. We will. He knows about us for sure, and yeah, he lives in New York, and we don't ever make it out there, and he doesn't. He's not. We just haven't made it out there. So maybe one of these days we will. Yeah.
So, here's a hard question. Which movie is your favorite? Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and I'm gonna throw in the game, because the game is technically Part 4.
You mean the Telltale game?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's an awesome game, dude. Like, first of all, I'm a fan of lots of 80s movies, okay? Like, I love The Goonies, and I love Ghostbusters and Indiana Jones and Explorers and all the stuff that was at E.T., all the stuff that was related, in the same time period. And, Back to the Future is something that we got involved in, but definitely, like, not, like, it's one of my favorites, but I also love Ghostbusters just as much and this and that. But if I had to choose Back to the Future, I would say it's all one story to me, and I love it all. Like, I don't have a favorite film as far as Back to the Future goes. And I would even include, I don't totally include the Telltale game in the category of the films, but but I did love it as an extension of the films. And yeah, I totally love that. So I would say I love the whole entire thing. And something that's interesting is that in 2013, before we even, well, maybe 2012, before the band started, I had gotten the Telltale Back to the Future game for my Wii at the time. And was like, wow, this is cool. Like, oh, it's Bob Gale did it, and Chris Lloyd lended his voice, and AJ Lucasio did an incredible Marty McFly. And Tom Wilson, they got someone else to do Biff's voice because Tom at the time was kind of staying away from the from the Back to the Future community. Mm-hmm. And they ended up remastering that video game. You probably know that. They ended up remastering it, and then Tom Wilson did actually do Biff's voice for the next for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. But I was like totally like, man, this is so cool that there's a new Back to the Future game. And within a year, I knew all the guys who made it. Like AJ, good friend of ours, was the voice of Marty in the Telltale game. He's recorded a lot of our Marty McFly voicings that we use at our shows. So, the show might start and then you'll hear Marty talking and we have a conversation between Marty and Doc. They're both voice impersonations, but man, they're spot on. And AJ, who did the voice in the game, actually does our Marty McFly voicings for part of our stage show. So it's pretty cool, man. This is interesting. Never thought it would go that way. Mm-hmm. Get a video game one day and then the next day you're like involved in it. It's super weird.
No, the funny thing about the game is I actually pre-ordered the game and I donated to Michael J. Fox's foundation because that was like hand in hand when they were doing pre-orders, and I literally beat it as the days it came out, and I had on my PC. I beat it on computer. So
you beat all 6 episodes?
Yeah, I beat the whole game, but then when I got a new computer, I was changing everything over to my old computer to my new one, and the game Back to the Future, the game when it come over to my new computer the way it was having problems. So I don't have it anymore, but I have it on my Xbox 360 soon enough. I want to get the PS4 version because 30th anniversary edition.
Right. That's the one that that Tom Wilson finally gave his Biff voice for. It's pretty cool. Yeah, man. I loved it. I thought it was great. Telltale, I think it went out of business, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not around anymore.
How about the comics? Do you like the Back to the Future comics?
Like the IDW stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually had a chance really to look through any of them, and I've been to plenty of comic stores, comic shops, like since those were released, and I actually haven't had an opportunity to get into them, but I do plan on doing that one day.
because I have them and I skimmed through them. It's pretty good. I mean, like
it should be good because it's directed basically by Bob Gale, and he's kind of the gatekeeper of all things Back to the Future. So everything's got to be approved by him, including us. Everything needs to be approved by him if it's going to be incorporated like into the mythos and the whole community and all that. And so he oversees those projects. It's got to get his stamp of approval. So they would be good. I'm totally confident in what you're saying. Those comics should be pretty good.
And I want to ask, do you know how on the 30th anniversary cover they now have the circle and it has the logo on it and it has like the years around the circle?
Yeah.
Do you know how they're now? I like how they're using it on everything Back to the Future related. That's probably my favorite cover they ever done.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Not just functional, but it also looks cool. So yeah, I do know about that.
They should have used that on the game, but even as an alternate cover, because the cover is not bad on the game, but they should use that as like an alternate cover just in case you wanted that. That would be cool. That would be cool.
I mean, I guess if they ever, they're probably not going to do a re-release, but yeah, who knows? But I do know exactly what you're talking about, and it does look really cool, and it does work really well. So maybe we'll see it more often. My buddy Joe is actually working on a book for the whole thing. Can't say more about that, but I don't know what the cover is going to look like. But we'll see. A lot of stuff is under wraps right now.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about a lot about Back to the Future, and because I know me and you love that, especially you because you're in the band. But Ghostbusters, what's your favorite team? What's your favorite team? The original team from the first two films, the women's team, the team from the women's movie Extreme Ghostbusters, or the new one that's coming out next year because this year sucks and it didn't come out.
Right. Okay. Well, my heart will always lie with with 1 and 2 because that's what I had when I was a kid, and everyone remembers the things most fondly when they were children. I did enjoy the female casted Ghostbusters. I didn't think it was honestly that bad. Like, I thought it was pretty good, and I am excited for the next one. I love the old cartoon, but I have to say my favorite Ghostbusters is Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters. And we've had some experiences with Ghostbusters because we're Back to the Future band, but we also get involved in a whole lot of different film and TV franchises and this and that. And a lot of studios will hire us to do their stuff, or to perform at their events. So we have played at the 35th anniversary, like the actual 35th anniversary of Ghostbusters on the Sony lot with Ray Parker Jr. We've done that stuff. So we kind of have an interesting tie into Ghostbusters as well. And a little known fact is that when we were figuring out what we were going to call the band and what we were going to do, we were 1 second away from being a band that dresses up like the Ghostbusters. So it could have easily have been a Ghostbusters band or a Breakfast Club band, but we went with Back to the Future and it worked out okay. But we still ended up doing stuff for Ghostbusters. I know how crazy this stuff sounds. Like, we have such an insane history, and like it sounds ludicrous. Like the variety of things, and it doesn't stop there. We've done so many other. We've had so much other involvement in large pop culture properties that it is kind of mind-boggling, and I don't think about it all the time. But when I'm in the middle of an interview or whatever, and I'm suddenly, oh yeah, I remember we did that. Oh yeah, I remember we did that. But these oh yeah, I remembers are huge experiences that are like, people are like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, you what? Like, you did this and you did that and this and that. So I can imagine like what it would sound like, what your listeners are going to think. Like, man, I mean, he's either a big ass bullshitter or they get involved in like the craziest things ever. And we're not bullshitters. Like, these things are legit. So yeah, you can bring up all kinds of stuff, and there's a possibility we've had something to do with it. It's crazy.
How about the Extreme Ghostbusters? Do you like that one?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, I just want your opinion because it was unique, it was different.
It was different. It was and there was some involvement with with the people who voiced that. Sorry, that's the real Ghostbusters. What's the Extreme Ghostbusters?
It's the one that came out in the 90s, and it had.
Right. Yeah, at the 35th anniversary, there was a lot of voice actors who were there. Who, I never got totally into Extreme. I was more into real Ghostbusters, but to skip over that, I did love the Ghostbusters video game. Like, that is really damn good. They really did an amazing job, and that was, luckily, Harold, Ramis was still with us when they filmed that, so we got the benefit of essentially having a Ghostbusters 3, video game, which is totally cool.
And
go ahead.
And they remastered it. It came out again, like they did a remaster.
Yeah, man. Do you want me to hook you up with a personal friend of mine is Robin Shelby, who actually played Slimer. Like, she was the puppeteer, and she is Slimer. Maybe I can get her to give you an interview.
Yeah, I don't mind. Sure, I'll do it.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell her. I'll tell her because you definitely are interested in Ghostbusters.
I was gonna say was it about Ghostbusters?
I don't know. What else do you want to talk about?
No. I remember.
Talk about stuff.
No, I remember I was going to talk about. So next year,
Yeah.
WrestleMania is coming to Hollywood. Flux is going to perform there.
Wait. What is coming?
WrestleMania is coming to Hollywood next year.
Who knows? You know, man, maybe. We don't ever know. And the kind of stuff that lands on our desk is mind-blowing. Like the things we were going to be doing this year that we have already been booked for, that just happened, that are not happening because of, this whole thing, would blow your mind. Like we were going to be involved with a major studio film release that's one of the biggest things ever, but I can't talk about that. That has now been pushed off to next year. We were going to be involved in stuff for Lucasfilms, and that's been theoretically pushed off to next year. So I never know what's coming down the pipe. Just suddenly the phone rings and people are like, hey, we'd love to have you guys perform at this event or that event. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see. I think it would be great. It would be totally fun to do a wrestling thing.
You guys are involved in pop culture, and WrestleMania is the most pop culture thing of them all. So
I know, man. We had a panel on it yesterday at the virtual con. We had pop culture or worldwide wrestling in pop culture. So that was one of our panels. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I think it would be cool. I mean, why not? Like, we'll do it. We've done everything else. We might as well do that.
Well, what would you guys want to do? Would you guys want to perform like a song or something at WrestleMania, or would you guys want to sing "America the Beautiful"?
We probably like to play some sort of after party, because everyone likes to get loose and dance and enjoy a rock concert and this and that. So that's probably something we would love to do. We really love to perform at after parties or at like movie premieres, those kinds of things. We've done, there's a few other events that we've done. I don't know. You want me to talk about them? Like, do you think that, your fans are going to be interested in hearing more stuff?
Yeah, go ahead. But first, I want to ask before you go off about that. I meant you guys being on the show, like on WrestleMania, performing on WrestleMania.
Yeah, we would love to do that. That would be great. It probably isn't going to be possible because we are a party band and we play other people's music. So that's not necessarily, we have our own stuff, but that's all not the stuff we play live. So, we're really there to bring people back in time through music. So we play music from the 80s and the 90s and even the 2000s and the 70s and this and that. So if there was room for that, if it was possible to do it, we would. But who knows? Chances are we're better off performing at any sort of other outside events. So we'll see. But if the phone rings and they're like, "We'd love to have you guys on," then I'm not going to turn it down.
You're not going to turn down Vince freaking McMahon.
Oh, I'm not going to turn down Vince McMahon.
And then,
we're gonna go there happily.
And so and then you were going to talk about your thing for.
Oh yeah, no, if your fans are interested, I don't know if they
they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it, man.
Okay, well, we've also had the honor of being the very last band to play at Stan Lee at his 95th and final birthday party. Like, we've done that kind of crazy shit.
Man, I met him. I met him for free, actually.
You're lucky, man. You're lucky because not a lot of people have met him for free.
Man,
usually a cost. But yeah, no, we did perform at his final birthday bash. There was about 1,000 people there, and it was up in the Hollywood Hills at the same house that the Stark Mansion was was modeled after. Last year we did the opening events for season 3 of Stranger Things. Man, we've done stuff for Live Nation. We've performed for for the people at Google and YouTube and Microsoft and K Rock, Jack FM, Toyota. Like the list is kind of endless, and
Have you guys
sounds
ever?
so crazy.
Yeah, but with doing all this stuff, then with all these people, like just doing all this, have you guys ever thought about possibly maybe doing not stadium but arena shows?
Yeah, we would. Of course, we thought about it. And if the opportunity ever comes, then then we would certainly do it. And we have played large venues, but not stadium venues or anything like that. But we've played large music venues for 10,000 people and things like that. And it never matters how many people are there or watching you. It still feels exactly the same. There's no like extra nerves. Whether it wouldn't matter if it's a stadium. We're still going to get out there and rock it and enjoy watching people dance and sing. And I don't know, man.
Because
too much craziness.
Yeah, because it'd be because you guys have done so much stuff for so many big things that if you guys wanted to do, like if you guys came here to Illinois and did the All-State Arena, you guys would sell that place out probably.
Thank you for that confidence. It depends on how it's marketed and how it's branded, because it would have to come across as like a throwback show, event kind of thing. So who knows? Just never know what is going to happen or what's coming or what is going to sell out and what's not. We still have a little bit of nerves when we play like a new place. Mm-hmm. Thinking, is anyone going to show up? Yeah, okay, it always packs. We know that, but we still get a little nervous thinking, do we have the ability to draw, the way that we should at this point? And you always get happy when you look out and there's 1,000 people standing there waiting for you to play. But who knows? I don't know. I don't know if we're quite ready yet, to sell out a place with 30,000 people or whatever, but maybe.
Well, the thing is,
one of the.
Well, the other thing is that if not the All-State Arena, probably the Rosemont Theater. And the best thing about the Rosemont Theater is that it's like corner with the convention center in Rosemont where Anime Midwest happens. So
Yeah.
if you guys like come here, you guys do a show at the Rosemont Theater, at least you guys can do your show there, and then
absolutely, man. And we've done shows at places like that out here in Los Angeles, right next to the Staples Center. There's a big, huge theater called the Novo. It's owned by Microsoft. And we've done several after parties for Los Angeles Comic Con there. We did them in 2014, 2015, 2016. 5,000 people in the audience, fully sold out, everyone in cosplay, everyone having a good time. So there's no doubt, something like that could be done. And who knows, maybe, we haven't had an opportunity. Like, we were traveling a lot for a while. And then we got busy. We just got busy out here. Like, we don't really travel as much as we used to. So everything we're doing requires us to be in town. And then I personally have my production company, aside from the band. We produce the 3 largest parties at San Diego Comic-Con, and we produce the after party for Los Angeles Comic-Con. These are big things. These are 3-day events. And the band performs there. So there's so much stuff going on all the time. We haven't had really an opportunity to break away and go traveling. And there's a lot of our fans out of California that are like, man, you got to come here. You got to come here. and it's like, oh, we'd love to, but our schedule is jammed. Like, okay, so right now we're stuck home. We can't even do that. But even when it's not lockdown, our schedule is such that we're booked 50 shows already by January for throughout the year. And they're big studio events and things requiring us to be here. So we can't even leave the area to go touring anymore because like Hollywood is calling and they want us to do this. They want us to do that. So maybe one day we'll be able to take a year off and go out and tour and travel and see everything. But for right now, our job is here at least when the apocalypse isn't here.
Because I was gonna say, if we can make it happen, do you think for like Anime Midwest is probably gonna be canceled this year because coronavirus?
Yeah.
But do you think for the 2021 Anime Midwest we can some way get you at least, and if possible the whole band, to fly out here and do like a panel for the flux capacitor so I can host it and it can be like a panel about you guys?
I mean, sure, as long as our schedule isn't completely, screwed up. Keep it in mind. People have done panels with us before. We did the first Comic-Con cruise, and during that cruise, we did a panel about specifically, like, well, actually, we were up there with a few other creators who had the gist of the panel was basically like, if I remember correctly, because this was like 4 years ago. People who have gotten involved in a legitimate way with a fandom and taken it like beyond a normal person's like a fandom. Like a lot of people dress up as and that's the extent of it. But then there's some people that have gotten involved with Indiana Jones, and some that have gotten involved with Star Wars, and us who gotten involved with Back to the Future, and so on and so on. So that makes for an interesting panel, pairing us with other people who've gotten involved with a fandom beyond, in a way that really integrated them into the community and with the cast and the crew and all that. That's an interesting subject. But if the stars align, sure, why not? If the stars align, I can't say that they can, because by the time, when this thing passes, if it passes, we still have shows we're already booked for next year, but who knows? Maybe those are going to, no one knows anything anymore. So we'll see. We'll see.
Or if I can't get at least the whole band, it'd be fun to have you just come along and be like, hey, I got Ryan from the Flux Capacitors. Anyone got any questions for him too?
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if it's possible, man, if it's possible, I would say that's all I can say, because no one knows anything. We don't know what our schedule is going to look like. I don't know even when your anime convention is. I don't even know.
July.
In July, yeah. For July, here's the problem. In July, we're usually swamped because we're producing those 3 parties at San Diego Comic-Con, and we spend a lot of time there. So if there's conflicting schedules, that makes it kind of hard. That makes it hard because the band plays 3 nights in a row, plus my production company does all of the party planning and decorations and everything involved with that. And so hopefully things won't, we'll work out and won't just train wreck. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see, man.
So like when you were growing up and before you were worrying about like producers and all this stuff, and you're just like, growing up, having a childhood, like when it was time to take the driver's seat and you made like your production company and you made the band and all that stuff, and then you had your people come around, like before all that, how was your life like? Like, and you can exclude all like the stuff you did in the 80s and all that stuff.
My life has always been weird. It's always been really weird. By trade, I'm a professional graphic designer and brand developer. So I've been doing that since 1995, building websites, doing people's marketing and advertising and crap like that. So to one degree or another, that's what my life has been since I graduated high school. It's been all about doing marketing, doing branding, and that was my bread and butter for many, many years. And then one day I just was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I still do it. I do it for the band. I do it for the conventions. I do it for the parties, all the graphic art you see coming out. That's usually me when it comes to this kind of stuff. But one day I was just like, you know what, I'm just done doing stuff for other people, and I'm going to build something for myself. And I've been playing piano since I was 6. And yeah, so I've always been, I don't play the piano anymore. I'm a keyboardist. But I, just wanted to start a band, and I did a few. Before we started Flux, I had another band called Han Cholo. And that was with a couple of the guys who are in the band Hollywood Undead. I don't know if you've heard of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a few of those guys were in the band with me, and then that fizzled out, and then I started the Flux Capacitors, and then so that's it. A lot of traveling from here. I lived in Dallas for 3 years, doing marketing and branding stuff over there. I lived in Las Vegas when I was in my early 20s. I even built adult websites when I was in my late teens.
Oh man.
Like we were doing that back in the 90s. So I've had an interesting existence. Yeah.
Who besides you guys, because you guys are, Back to the Future related, you guys are like the Back to the Future band, but like
yeah.
But like what series in your head, if they're not existent already, that you would love to see a band based around in your own head, if they exist or not? Like, if they exist, then tell me about them. If they don't, then just tell me how you would like to see it.
Oh, I'd love to see a Trailer Park Boys band. I'm a big Trailer Park Boys fan. Like, love those guys. There are a lot of bands. Like, there's bands that are Marvel themed and Transformer themed. I think a Ninja Turtle band would be pretty cool. We've even thought about like just doing sort of a joke thing, calling ourselves the Rubber Band and wearing full body condoms like up on stage.
What?
Full body rubbers, and call ourselves the Rubber Band. It sounds like something that you could do during quarantine. Like you're not going to infect anybody or anything. The Golden Guys. That's another one we thought would be really cool, which would be like a parody of the Golden Girls, but you just dress up as old men.
Golden Guys.
Golden Guys.
That's hilarious.
And this is a good question, and I haven't really thought of it. I haven't seen a really good Breakfast Club band. I think that is cut and dried. Like, those costumes are easily, copyable. And, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought of that, but that is a good question. But, I'm not like, I'm personally more interested in the talent of the people that would be wearing, like, you could have the coolest costumes in the world and you could suck. Like, and I'm not into that. Like, I like to hear good musicians playing good music. So stick good musicians in a cool costume and I'm all about it. But like, just find some shitty band and have them dressing up as, I don't know, G.I. Joe or something. Like, that's not going to matter. Like, it might be entertaining for one show, but I would never go see them again. They have to be good. A band has to be good for me to want to listen to them. I know that's not your question, but
yeah,
I guess it's more important to me than the costumes that the band is actually talented.
Yeah, there has to be talent behind the goofiness.
There has to be talent behind the goofiness, or it's just an insult to the franchise that they're mimicking. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
we can't be a shitty band because we can't put a mar on the legacy of Back to the Future. It's such a perfect thing. Like, we you have to be really good. You have to be you're not too you don't want to burn the brand that you've become part of. So I only want to see people do what we've done if they are also really good musicians um, and won't screw up the legacy of that property that they are trying to become a part of.
Yeah, because I want to ask I don't know if the Pokemon theme was like the first thing you guys did outside of Back to the Future, but if it was, or just tell me the experience in general. But when you guys started doing the Pokemon theme, where you're like, I don't usually like to swear, but where you're like, oh shit, people are gonna hate us. We're the Back to the Future guys. Why are we doing playing Pokemon?
No. I knew people were gonna love it. Like, I knew it. We all knew it. Um, I'm super empathic. I can put myself in people's shoes, and I can understand that there was an entire audience filled with people who grew up with Pokemon when they were 10 years old and they were playing it. It's all they did. And now they're 25 years old and they're standing here watching this. Like, I knew they were going to appreciate it. It didn't matter what we were wearing. And Tyler, in fact, if you look on if you look on Jason's page, Jason Page's YouTube page, you'll see he's got video up there the first time he played with us, and at the moment when we started playing the theme song, Tyler turned his Back to the Future hat. He's our singer. He turned his Back to the Future hat around, and it suddenly kind of resembled Ash in a way. So it worked. It worked pretty well. I didn't think people were going to hate us. Some people might think it's goofy, but who cares? I don't care. It's not goofy to me. The show's great, and the song is one of the best freaking theme songs of all time.
Has there ever been on top of that too, when you guys were starting to do stuff, like when you guys were starting to weave out the Back to the Future thing and started to be like more expansive, was there people that are like being kind of like, no, they're not the same,
No one's ever done that.
No,
the Back to the Future thing, we didn't leave it behind. We're still, very much in it, but we're not as strict as we used to be. When this started, I was very strict about our costuming and this and that. And over time, it was like, all right, you know what? We're in it. Let's relax a little bit. Let's be these like rock and roll versions of Back to the Future characters, and we can let loose, chill out a bit. But no one has gotten down on us. Like, people still
people love it when you're expanding.
Yeah, because the stuff we're expanding into is stuff that chances are they're into as well. Like, what Back to the Future fan isn't into Ghostbusters, and what Back to the Future and Ghostbusters fans aren't into Stranger Things, and what same thing with Pokemon. Like everyone loves all this stuff. Everyone loves Marvel stuff, and so we never had a problem. Like, you'd think we might be a little pigeonholed or cornered in typecast into being just only a Back to the Future thing. But that's not how it turned out for us. Like, we could play a Star Wars event, which we were going to do. We can play a Star Wars event and still wear our Back to the Future clothes. Yeah, so we could do a Star Wars event and still be in our Back to the Future costumes. We might change them a little bit. Instead of, we might wear a Darth Vader helmet, but we're still the flux capacitors. Like, people are expecting to see us in Back to the Future clothes. No one's insulted by it. No one has any sort of toxic fandom that won't allow us to do what we do the way we do it. Nobody's gotten visibly angry with us. No one's dissed us or left any negativity or anything. whenever we're playing anywhere, like we can still be the flux capacitors. Yeah, just as long as we play the music from whatever we're playing really well and don't insult. Like, this goes back to not insulting the franchise. Like, as long as you don't do that, if we go to a Star Wars party and play the Cantina music perfectly, it doesn't matter what we're wearing. People are gonna love it.
Yeah. So I know you live in California, and the whole band lives out in California, and California, to you guys is super awesome, super great. You guys are like me with Chicago, but with California. I know everything. I know what's best around here and all that stuff. But like, let's do some, as they say in wrestling, fantasy booking for a little bit. How would you guys be like if like you guys left the California life behind and you guys moved to Wisconsin and lived out in like a forest somewhere? Could you guys do it?
I don't know, probably. But I personally would probably continue doing stuff online to stay dialed in to what's going on out here. Like stick me in a cave and with my laptop and a phone, and I'll start a new project, and that. So I don't know. That's a really interesting question. Probably could hack it. It just depends on what we're there for and what we're doing. And are we there for an experiment, or are we forced to live there, or that's it? Like we have to live there? Like what's this? What's the question?
Like you would do you think you guys can like let's just say like you don't have your company anymore, like you're still the band, like you're still in the band, but you're not in your company anymore, like the fame is worn off.
Got it.
Like you're just Ryan Silverburg in flux capacitors, and all the members are them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I still have the band, right?
Yeah, you still have the band, but you're a dude who loves being in your band, and you're just a normal dude.
We would have a presence, a big, huge following out in Wisconsin in the woods. we would throw some sort of outdoor concert under the trees and have everyone come over there. Yeah, I don't know. We'd figure out a way.
I mean,
we'd figure out a way to keep the party going. I'm sure.
But you'd be like perfectly content if like you lost, like if you didn't have the company and you were just normal Ryan Silverburg with your friends.
I've been normal Ryan, and I am still normal Ryan.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like if you were just like if you didn't grow up with the fame and all that stuff, and you're just like if you didn't have all the famous stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Then I wouldn't miss it.
You wouldn't miss it?
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't know about it, I didn't grow up with it, and I was never around it, and that was my life. Like I would obviously not miss. I mean, I think I'm understanding the question. I wouldn't miss it because I wouldn't have ever known about it. It's like people are like, if you think, if you suddenly went blind, would you miss seeing? It's like, yeah, I would miss seeing, but if you were born blind, would you miss seeing? No, because you never saw it in the first place. So
yeah.
If my life was out there and it wasn't part of what I do out here, and that out here never even existed to me, but I had a band out there, then that would be I would have a band out there, and I wouldn't know anything about what's going on out here. Therefore, I wouldn't miss it. Like I wouldn't be craving it. Maybe I'd figure out, maybe it's built into me to like do crazy big things. I don't know. So maybe I'd end up doing some crazy big things out there.
Yeah, because because like I asked because like for me I didn't grow up in I grew up in suburban Chicago, and did all the I didn't grow up next I wasn't neighbors with Macaulay Culkin or anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I did my normal life with school, did my job, all that stuff. So like I know how it's like to live like in a life like this. I don't know how it is to live out in like fame and whatever. So like,
It's when you're home, you're away from it. If you keep off Facebook and Instagram, you're away from it. If you don't answer your phone, you're away from it. If you just want to sit on your couch and watch Netflix or something, you're away from it. When you when you get on social media, you're reminded about it. And when you go out to do your job, you're in it. So it's kind of like that. Like you can shut off as much of it as you want when you want to, but just know, like when you go back to work or when you go outside or when you bump into somebody or whatever, then it's, it's there again. The recognition or the fame or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's not totally weird. It's controllable. Like a faucet, like, you can turn it on hard or you can turn it on just a trickle. Just depends on, what you're feeling like doing. I enjoy it. I also enjoy my quiet time, away from it.
So what outside of California, what other state would you love to go to?
What I'd love to go to, I've been, I think, to every state, except for Hawaii. I have not been to Hawaii. I guess I'd love to go to Hawaii. I'm sure I will, like, one day. Yeah. But Steven, let's wind this up, man, because I got to get back on with my girlfriend, and I got something I got to handle.
Oh yeah,
is that cool?
Yeah,
okay.
That's cool. Sorry about that.
All right, man. That's all right.
So I'll do my. We've been going for an hour and 17 minutes anyway. So.
Oh, cool. So you're gonna trim it down to an hour? Or you keep it an hour 17?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna trim out all the stuff you wanted me to trim out, but but yeah, I'll do my outro and I'll let you do yours. Thank you everyone for listening to episode 107 of Cyber Timebite. You can follow me on Facebook at Cyber Timebite. You can follow me on Twitter at NostalgiaVamp. And make sure to go buy my merchandise at redbubble.com under Crash Steven Gear, where even the Spork is the most powerful of them all. Even people in California know that the Spork, it should be on every movie set ever. and if quarantine's still happening when this episode gets uploaded, go buy my mask. I have a mask.
Whoa. And I'm Ryan. Steven, thanks for having me on. You can find the flux capacitors everywhere. I don't need to go through it. Just look us up and watch us on Hulu. If you want to watch the movie Back in Time, you'll see us there. If you're interested in my virtual convention, it's virtualpopexpo.com. You can call up both days of the Virtual Pop Expo on YouTube and watch all 8 hours each day of content if you want to do that. We had a lot of really cool celebrities who were on. And now, what else? I'll see you in the future. Or maybe the past.
Or the present. Who knows? But thank you everyone for listening, and I hope all of you have a fantastic day. Have a good one.
See you guys.